minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9. Go SpaceX, go SphereX, go Punch.
SphereX and Punch on their way to map out our universe like never before and revolutionize space weather forecasting.
We are T plus 30 seconds into flight, and we are currently firing all 9 of those M1D engines. And after about 50 seconds, we'll begin throttling down those engines, which slow the vehicle down just slightly in order to prepare.
Power and telemetry nominal.
In order to prepare for passing through max Q, and that is maximum aerodynamic pressure. That's the largest structural load that the vehicle will see during ascent, so slowing the vehicle down.
Vehicle supersonic.
Slowing the vehicle down will reduce some of the loads that it experiences through max Q. That's coming up here in a few seconds.
Max Q.
Right on time. And now we have a few events that are coming up in quick succession, so we want to lay them out for you really quick. It's going to start with main engine cutoff. That's MECO, and that's when SpaceX shuts down all of its 9 engines on its first stage, which we are getting a great view down the pipe right there. Shortly after that, Stage 1 and 2 will separate from each other, and then seconds later, the first stage will flip back towards Earth, while the second stage will continue on, igniting its MVAC engine. Now that call out is Second Engine Start 1, or SE1, and this burn will last about 6 minutes. After that, the boost back burn on the first stage to put it back on a trajectory towards landing zone 4, which again is back here at Vandenberg, just about 1,400 feet from where Falcon launched from in the first place. Wow, look at that shot. All Merlin engines firing right there, and we have such a great live shot of it.
Main engine cut off.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
Stage 1 boost back startup. Coming up next, we will see fairing deploy, and that's when the 2 fairing halves will separate and expose SphereX and Punch to the atmosphere of space. SpaceX will attempt, they will actually retrieve those fairings back downrange on Go Beyond once they get back to Earth.
Fairing separation confirmed.
There we hear fairing deployment confirmed, and what you see on the screen is the fairing separating and showing SphereX and Punch on their way to space. Stage 1 boost back shutdown.
There you see on your screen and heard that call out that the boost back burn is concluding on the first stage vehicle. That's the first of 3 burns that it needs to make its way back down to Earth. This is the 3rd flight for today's first stage, which previously supported 2 other launches, NROL 126 in November of 2024 and Transporter 12 just in January of this year. And you may have noticed some soot on the vehicle prior to launch. During the entry burn, which is coming up here in a couple minutes, Falcon 9 is decelerating by reigniting 3 of the 9 Merlin M1D engines. Now, this causes the vehicle to fly through Merlin's exhaust gases, or the plume, which deposits a layer of soot on the vehicle's surface, and that soot comes from the carbon-based fuel that Falcon 9 uses. With each flight, the soot builds up just a little bit more on the outside of the vehicle, giving Falcon 9 its distinctive reused look.
We're just so lucky to have these great views. Again, we have a split screen here. On the left side is the first stage, and you see those grid fins. They're guiding that first stage back to a trajectory here at Vandenberg Space Force Base. And then on the the right-hand side on your screen, you have the second stage, and you see that MVAC engine is still burning there. You know, LSP just works really closely with SpaceX to be able to fly reused rockets for NASA missions.
Yeah, Megan, at LSP, we look at all the requirements for all the missions that we have. And as I said earlier, we selected SpaceX for the SphereX and Punch mission. And looking at all those requirements, we ensure that even previously flown launch vehicles will meet those requirements, providing NASA with a dependable and a cost-effective ride to space for this, our first rideshare mission.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, hello, we're in your bottom corner right there. I'm NASA's Megan Cruz, and with me is Mick Woltman with NASA, and also Jesse Anderson, a senior production manager at SpaceX. Now, Mick is with NASA's Launch Services Program, which is managing today's launch, so he's going to have a lot of interesting things to say to us to walk us through what we're seeing today. And of course, we have Jesse from SpaceX. Really great ride so far. We're so lucky to have you guys. And you know, LSP chose SpaceX to deliver SphereX and Punch to what's called a sun-synchronous orbit 650 kilometers above the Earth. And SphereX is going to help answer some of the biggest astrophysical questions out there. You know, like how do galaxies form and evolve, how water and other key ingredients for life came to be. And then Punch is made up of 4 satellites that will study the sun and see how it creates space weather that can significantly impact us on Earth. I mean, Mick, we're talking about issues with GPS or satellites, things like that.
Yeah, it's
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And there we heard the call for the first stage entry burn startup, looking for entry shutdown here in just a few seconds and getting ready for landing burn in just about a minute.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
There we have Jesse, confirmed engine shutdown for the entry burn. But back to what you were saying, Megan, about the science of the mission. I know Farah is sitting there looking. We are so happy that we got liftoff tonight. But you know, the most important thing about these 2 missions is exactly what you were talking about. Once we get them deployed, the science that they will have to be able to help us here on Earth with some of the things you want. The spectral map of the universe will be incredible. And that solar wind and solar...
Stage 1 FTS has saved.
Flight termination system has been safe.
Stage 1
really good news.
transonic.
And it sounds like stage 1 is on its way back. So that science is very important to us here on Earth. So we're looking forward to getting these deployed this evening.
We do have the landing burn coming up here in a few seconds. That'll be a single engine burn and the last burn that the vehicle needs to land.
Stage 1 landing burn.
There's that call out. Landing burn has begun. Let's watch as Falcon 9 touches down on landing zone 4E.
Stage 1 landing light deploy.
And such an awesome view of Falcon 9 touching down
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
on landing zone 4E, confirming the 3rd landing for this booster.
We had applause here on the factory room floor. It's a fun place to see. You know, it would have been cool to see it at Vandenberg, but this was pretty cool, too.
Yeah, I was going to say I love the launches, but you know what? I love the way SpaceX makes landing look easy,
Stage
too.
2 FTS has saved.
It's still one of my favorite parts, as many times as we've seen it.
And right there on your
MVAC
screen,
shutdown.
we lost the signal for a second, but basically we're keeping an eye on the second stage's first burn. That's continuing, and that burn's going to last until just after T plus 8 minutes. And then it will shut down. There will be a coast phase, and then we will relight a second time. All right, so again, first burn out of the way. We will see a second burn later. That's going to happen around T plus 39 minutes. We hope that you stay with us to see the deployment of both SphereX and Punch. But for now, we're going to send it back to Raquel and Farah, because I know Farah is probably cheering right now.
Yes, absolutely.